Subhanallah walhamdulillah wa la ilaha illallah.
And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to shower His peace and blessings upon the most beloved of His creation, the one who is the most perfect creation, the one who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent as rahmatul lil alameen, as a mercy for all the worlds, as shafi' al-mudhnibeen, as an intercessor and an accepted intercessor for the sinners, and the one whom He sent as the best of creation, our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to send peace and blessings upon His pure family, His noble companions, His pure wives who are the mothers of the believers, and all those generations that follow Him sallallahu alayhi wa sallam until the day of judgment. Ameen. And we beg Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us and our offspring and our descendants until Yawm al-Qiyamah on Iman, and from those people who follow in His blessed footsteps until Yawm al-Qiyamah. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Qur'an that, say, O beloved Prophet, tell the people, O my beloved Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, بِفَضْلِ اللَّهِ وَبِرَحْمَتِهِ فَبِذَلِكَ فَلْيَفْرَحُوا, that for the bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and for His mercy, rejoice. And the bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the mercy come in many forms. The greatest form of which is Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. If it wasn't for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala creating the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, all the worlds would be deprived of Allah's mercy. So the greatest form of the mercy and fadl of Allah, the rahmah and fadl of Allah, is Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And from that form there are other degrees of Allah's mercy and bounties that we should be grateful for. One of these bounties is this day of Eid al-Fitr, that we should show happiness for, we should show joy for. For indeed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has brought us out of obligatory fasting, and He has brought us back into a state where we can now experience His bounties again, and they are halal to us, and we can thank Him for that. So this is the root word of Eid, actually is from the word Aada, Ayn Alif Dal, which means to return. So Eid al-Fitr, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Eid is one meaning of Eid is returning. Aada ya'udu, this verb means to return. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the month of Ramadan, made it obligatory for us to abstain from our desires, from eating, from drinking, from fulfilling our physical desires with our spouse in a halal way. These things which are usually halal in other times, they were made haram during that month of Ramadan, from dawn till dusk. That was also a favor of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a purification from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that we can reflect on the bounties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and reflect on those people who are less fortunate, who do not get those bounties on a regular basis. And also it was a training for our nafs so that we can attain taqwa. And that is the goal. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us from the accepted ones during the month of Ramadan, so that we do attain the gift of taqwa, ya Rabbil Alameen. So that was a favor of Allah, that is also a bounty of Allah. And now Ya'ud, we have Eid al-Fitr, which is also a bounty from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now that we can indulge in the halal things just like we used to before Ramadan. We can indulge in halal food, halal drink. If we have a spouse, we can indulge in fulfilling our desires with the spouse in a halal way. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has now returned us to that state, which is also His bounty and fadl and favor. So now we can indulge in those and then thank Him for that. So alhamdulillah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created this month of Ramadan and then followed that by Eid, so that we can experience both states, and that we can give shukr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in both states. And indeed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is teaching us how to give shukr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a state of prosperity and in a state of adversity. This is why the Prophet ﷺ said, get to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a state of difficulty or in adversity, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will remember you in the state of prosperity. Right? Often what happens in a state of prosperity, when we're in a state of, mashallah, all the bounties are there, we have lots of this, everything, we tend to forget Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Or then we do shukr. Some people, they still do shukr, they say, alhamdulillah, Allah is giving us this, but when it is taken away from us, then we start to forget Allah. Why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala take this away from me? What did I do to deserve this? Is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not pleased with me? So alhamdulillah, Allah is giving us tarbiyah, He's giving us spiritual training. That in Ramadan, even though those bounties, for a moment, not for the whole day, for nonetheless, we have to abstain from them, but still to give shukr, because it's still a purification for us. And that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is training our nufus, our souls, to attain taqwa, and to become closer to Him and His Habib sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, this is a day of rejoice. This is a day where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala repays us for the efforts that we did in Ramadan. Even though He is the one who gave us tawfiq to do so. He gives the tawfiq subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then He also gives us the reward. How generous is our Lord subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rabbun Kareem, the most generous Lord. That this is the night of Eid, is known as Laylatul Ja'iza, the night of recompense, the night of reward. And this day of Eid is where Allah's Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam told us that the mu'mineen and the mu'minat, they are forgiven on this day. That when they go to the Salat al-Eid, and when they gather, before they gather, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands the angels to descend onto the roads. To the roads and the corners of the roads, and the angels are filling the pathways of the believers as they are proceeding towards the Eid Salah. And the angels can be heard by all the creation except humankind and jinnkind. And the angels are saying to the believers that proceed, come to the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Come to the one whose mercy is infinite, and come to the presence of the one who forgives the most terrible sins. He is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Come to the forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They're giving glad tidings and they're inviting us to the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most merciful. This is that day of Eid. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us from those who are forgiven on this day. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as was the sunnah of the Sahaba, subhanallah, the Sahaba radiallahu anhu ajma'in, one of our fasts or one of our forms of, any form of ibadah is not even comparable, not even an atom's weight of the ibadah or the fast of the Sahaba radiallahu anhu ajma'in, of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. But look at how they used to beg Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is mentioned that even up to 6 months after Ramadan, up to 6 months after Ramadan, they would still be making dua, oh Allah, accept our Ramadan. Oh Allah, accept our Siyam. Allahumma taqabbal Siyamah. Allahumma taqabbal Qiyamah. Subhanallah, look at their hirs and their care and the concern they had for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept their deeds. So who are we if we are from the ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and not even close to the level of Sahaba? Then we should beseech Allah even after Ramadan and continue to ask Him to accept our Ramadan, to make us from the maqbooleen, to make us from those whose qiyam and siyam and our actions in this blessed month of Ramadan were accepted, alhamdulillah. This is the blessed day of recompense, of reward. This is the day where, alhamdulillah, we meet our kin and our family. The Prophet ﷺ told us to dress with the best clothes on this blessed day of Eid, to perform the ghusl. And today is Jumu'ah as well. You can perform the ghusl with 2 intentions, of the Eid and also of the Jumu'ah. To wear your best perfume, to visit your family and friends, to be more generous on this day. To visit the orphans if you can, the masakeen, to give in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even more than on regular days if you can. To visit the sick, if there are anybody who's sick that you know of, visit them and do iyadah of those people who are sick, and to make dua for them. And this is also a day where it is said that if you commit a sin on the day of Eid, it is as if you're committing the sin on the day of judgment. I'm going to repeat this, that we should stay away from any type of sin on the day of Eid or the night of Eid. Especially, we should always try to stay away. But especially there is a specific warning in the Hadith Sharif that a person who sins on the day of Eid, it is as if you are sinning on, the word is, the one who sins on Yawm al-Eid, it is as if you are sinning on Yawm al-Wa'id. Yawm al-Wa'id is the day of judgment. It's the name of the day of judgment. So if we have no shame before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we sin on this day of blessing, this day of rejoicing, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is forgiving the mu'mineen, and we have no shame and then we're sinning still, it's as if we're sinning on the day of judgment in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's how it is, we don't care. So even though we are supposed to rejoice, the rejoice has to be within the limitations of the Sharia. Always remember that as Muslims, our happiness and our rejoice and our farha should always be within the limitations of the Sharia of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We shouldn't look at cultures around us who rejoice with haram things. Our rejoice is a pure rejoice. It resembles the rejoice of the inhabitants of Jannah. We visit each other for the sake of Allah. We love each other for the sake of Allah. We indulge in halal things. It is as if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is preparing the mu'mineen for Jannah before we go to Jannah. That's how it feels. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to rejoice in the best way, in the most pure way, with takbirat. Right? Let's recite the takbirat. Enjoy. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, walillahi alhamd. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, walillahi alhamd. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, walillahi alhamd. Alhamdulillah, this is the way we should rejoice. Remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in our gatherings. Yes, we visit our family, visit our friends, but make sure that we remember Allah. We remember His Habib sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We mention the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We mention the Sahaba, the Ahlul Bayt, the righteous people, so that our gatherings are beautified and they're sanctified and perfumed with goodness and khair, and they're perfumed with the remembrance of Allah and His Habib sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And stay away from company that will cause you to be misleaded. As the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, الرَّجُلُ عَلَى دِينِ خَلِيلٍ فَلْيَنْظُرْ أَحَدُكُمْ مَنْ يُخَالِلُ. That a person is on the faith of his friend. Look at the word the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is using. الرَّجُلُ عَلَى دِينِ خَلِيلٍ. That the influence of a company is so much, as we say, peer pressure. The influence is so much that it could affect your deen, and it does affect your deen. That a person's deen can be changed just by peer pressure. Allahu Akbar. Look at the wisdom of Rasulullah and how deep his words are, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. فَلْيَنْظُرْ أَحَدُكُمْ مَنْ يُخَالِلُ. Then beware of the ones that you befriend. Beware of who you take as a friend. If your friend is going to take you and be a means for you to come closer to Allah and His Rasul, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, this is the friend we want. If our friend is going to be a means for us to be distanced from Allah and His Rasul, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, this is the friend we have to be beware of. Right? So as we are enjoying the favors of Allah on this blessed day, my reminder to myself and yourselves is to enjoy them within the limits of the Sharia. Ramadan has just finished. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has, the Prophet ﷺ said, Allah forgives all the mu'mineen at the end of Ramadan. The Sahaba, they asked Rasulullah, Ya Rasulullah, is this Laylatul Qadr? He said, not Laylatul Qadr. He said, at the end of Ramadan, just as an employer, when you work for somebody, they give you the wage at the end. Subhanallah. Likewise, Allah, our Malik al-Mulk, Dhul Jalali wal Ikram, He is giving us our wage of forgiveness at the end of Ramadan. Now we have the stamp of forgiveness. Let's not tarnish our stamp. Let's not tarnish it with the sin. Right? Let's try to keep that momentum going. And keep trying to do those actions that we were doing in the month of Ramadan, even though it's a little bit, but try to keep that momentum going and helping one another and encouraging one another to do so, inshallah. So that we are more wholesome, more pure communities, and that we can truly reflect the state that Allah and His beloved Prophet ﷺ want us to be in, Ya Rabbil Alameen, alhamdulillah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive me and us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala encompass us all in His mercy. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our fast. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all our efforts, Ya Rabbi. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept all our ibadat. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our qiyam, and our siyam, and our sadaqat and khairat. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give shifa and afiyah to all those who are sick and suffering, Ya Rabbil Alameen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant Jannatul Firdaus to all those who have passed away, and give them the rifaqa, murafaqa, and the company of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Jannah, and the vision of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala remove the suffering from Ummah Muhammadiyya sallallahu alaihi wasallam. May Allah help the Muslims wherever they are. In Palestine, in Gaza, there is oppression. Ya Allah, remove the oppression, Ya Rabbi. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help the Muslims in Syria. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help the Muslims in Burma. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help the Muslims in Yemen. In all countries there is oppression. There's political oppression, there's physical oppression, there's corruption. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala remove it from all the lands of the planet. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us true awliya Allah who can lead the ummah, Ya Rabbil Alameen. People who are close to Allah and His Habib. Ya Rabbi, this is the time where we need these people, Ya Rabbi. There's the fitna of Dajjal, the fitna of Akhir zaman is getting worse and worse, Ya Rabbil Alameen. We ask you, Ya Allah, to give us the madad of the awliya Allah, that they come and they remove the darkness, Ya Rabbil Alameen, and they guide us and our children and our offspring into the light, Ya Rabbil Alameen, the light of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the light of the Deen al-Islam, Ya Rabbil Alameen. برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين ويا أكرم الأكرمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين.
والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله والله أكبر سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله